Say it with me. No. No, thank you.
No.
I'm good.
No way.
No, thanks.
Not a chance.
Welcome to the fourth and final episode of the November series. This is a series based on the old adage, use it up, wear it out, make do, do without, and it's designed to empower you to reel in your spending, resist the rat race of consumerism, and say no.
No, no, no.
Say no to marketing tactics, influencers, unnecessary products, and anything else that we don't need. You can watch the previous 3 episodes here, and I will link to the playlist in the description as well. In this episode, we are doing without. I'll be giving you examples of things I'm just plain saying no to. I hope to give you some inspiration for things that you can also do without and say no to. And remember that this is unique to every person. It's going to be based on your own personal needs, your preferences, your lifestyle. What I say no to might not be what you say no to, and that's okay. The point is to become more critical of where we're spending our money and what we're consuming, to stop and think before buying something and look at ways we can do without. But with all that said, let's get into it. These are the things I'm doing without. The first thing that I'm doing without saying no to is owning a car. I got rid of my car last spring when it got to the end of its life and became a burden. The cost of ownership and repairs became more than the car was worth. I now share a car with my partner. 2 cars wasn't necessary. The car I did have was a secondhand car, actually third-hand car by the time it came to me. So it was on its last legs. This might not work in places where you're more car reliant, but it works for us. The second thing I have said no to and I'm doing without is a coffee machine. I don't own a fancy Keurig or an espresso machine. For one, I'm not a big coffee drinker, but when I do want a coffee, I have a little trick. I use an old tea strainer out of an old teapot that I had, and it kind of creates a nice pour-over effect. It makes a really great cup of coffee. It's easy to clean, I don't have to buy filters, and there's no parts and electronics that are gonna break down. Not to mention all those single-use pods that are often used in those Keurig and espresso machines. Those all end up in the landfill. It's just more plastic waste. So in this way, it's a win-win. I'm saving money by using a tool, a simple tool that I already own, and avoiding all that unnecessary waste. The third item that I'm doing without is a toaster. I've owned them in the past, but I moved and I decided to put off buying a toaster just to see how long I could go without it. You may have noticed a pattern that I like to do these challenges with myself. I like to see what I can live without, and it turns out I can live without a toaster. For the rare time that I want a piece of toasted bread, I either put it under the broiler in the oven or I fry it in a pan with some olive oil. That's way better, actually. Pro tip, fry your bread. A toaster is another one of those kitchen appliances that break down. My previous video, when I talked about electronic waste, I also mentioned planned obsolescence. That's not just in electronics like phones, TVs, computers. It's also in things like toasters. They're not designed to last. So if there's any way that I can avoid these silly kitchen appliances that just break down, I'm gonna do it. And if it's a little inconvenient, that's okay. I've got time to broil a piece of bread. It's all part of that slow living philosophy. Number 4, there are certain beauty products that I am saying no to and doing without. First one is foundation. I used to always buy foundation and have that in my makeup as part of my routine. But I got to a point where I realized, 1, I have very oily skin. No matter how many primers or specific foundations I use that are designed to last, they slide off my skin. 2, I like a lighter coverage look. For day-to-day use and what I'm doing in my life, I don't need foundation. And 3, I like to let my skin breathe, so the less makeup I can wear on a daily basis, the better. And again, this might not work for everyone. If you prefer a more full coverage look, or there's particular scars that you're trying to cover up, that's totally fine. Use foundation. But there might be other makeup items that you could consider doing without. And the final cosmetic or beauty item that I'm doing without and saying no to is hair conditioner. My hair type, just like my skin type, it's very oily. I used to use conditioner because that's what you do, right? You buy your shampoo, you buy your conditioner. These products are designed that way, to be sold together. That's what the packaging and the marketing tells us. But it turns out, no. With my hair type, it's very oily, it's very straight. I don't need conditioner. I can get away without it. And it's just one more product I don't have to worry about, I don't have to buy. But again, if your hair type is more dry, more coarse, of course you're going to want a conditioner. You might want something altogether different. Maybe you're saying no to traditional shampoo and you're going for more of a deep conditioner, deep cleanser, an all-in-one product, what have you. The point is to just consider what in our beauty repertoire can we do without that we're just kind of reflexively using because we've been told that we're supposed to use it. And the final thing that I'm doing without, back to the kitchen, it's plastic wrap. I haven't bought plastic wrap for quite a few years now. A couple years ago, I kind of made a conscious effort to cut down on single-use plastics and see where I could reduce that. And one way was plastic wrap. I stock up on reusable containers. If I get takeout food, I'm keeping those containers. I'm cleaning them super well. I keep the little sauce containers and wash those out. I have traditional food storage containers as well, a variety of sizes. There are other ways to store your food that don't require plastic wrap. The other trick I have is to put a plate on top of a bowl in the fridge, especially if it's for something that only temporarily needs to be covered, like maybe you've made a salad and you just want to store it in the fridge until you're ready to serve it. Just pop a plate on top of that bowl. You don't need to put a piece of plastic wrap every time. This might not work for everyone. Certain kitchen techniques and food preparation requires plastic wrap, so don't feel bad if you're still using plastic wrap. That might work perfectly well for you. But for me, I'm doing without. There's also those beeswax wraps. It's like cotton coated in beeswax. I've tried those. I'm not too crazy about them, but they do work. They're a good alternative as well. But if you do want to cut down on waste and specifically single-use plastics, there's lots of great advice and guidance and inspiration from the zero waste movement. Zero waste can feel intimidating. It can feel like a bit of an all or nothing lifestyle change, but it doesn't have to be that way. When people say zero waste, they really mean low waste or reducing your waste, and specifically reducing single-use plastics. So back when the metal straw craze was a big thing, that's just one example. Metal straws over plastic straws, or just doing without straws altogether. Saying no to disposable coffee cups and either taking the time to sit in and have your coffee, your latte, your tea in a proper mug, or bringing your own mug, or just skipping that coffee out from time to time and making your own coffee at home. Lots of countries like Canada, where I live, have introduced a ban on plastic bags, so we have to bring our bags to the store. But if you live in a place where plastic bags are still a thing and you want to cut back on those and say no, get into the habit of bringing your own reusable bags to the stores with you. Ultimately, the burden is on producers and lawmakers to make dramatic and lasting change with things like extended producer responsibility, regulation, and bans on single-use plastics. Quick note on extended producer responsibility. It's a policy approach in which a producer's responsibility, physical and or financial, for a product is extended to the post-consumer stage of a product's life cycle. EPR shifts responsibility upstream in the product life cycle to the producer, i.e. brand owners, first importers, or manufacturers, and away from municipalities and general taxpayers. So the goal is to create a more circular economy, so these things that are created, that we use, that end up in the landfill can actually be reused and recycled and repurposed in some way. The burden shouldn't be on us as consumers, but for the time being, we still have to live with it, and we have the power to make different choices while we wait on producers and lawmakers to catch up and do better. You can do better right now. We can change our habits in small ways, and collective action does add up. You can vote with your dollar, as they say, or without your dollar, by not spending money on these things at all. It's about progress, not perfection, always. If you've already made these changes in your life and you want to take it a step further, you can also gently encourage and inspire your friends, family, and coworkers to make little changes of their own. All right, that concludes the November series. Thanks for watching. I'm a recovering shopping addict turned minimalist. I want to encourage you to find ways to buy less stuff and question your consumer habits. I mostly make videos about sustainable style, but I also love to talk about minimalism, simplicity, and slow living. If you like that type of content and you want to see more, please subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, check out the previous 3 videos in this series and any other videos on my channel. Share this video and the series with a friend if you want to, because that gives me a big boost as well. I hope to see you back here soon.